Hi everyone, it's Isabel here. Just hopping on to do a response to a tag. So it's the school summer holidays here in the UK, and so we've been away for a couple of weeks, and I've had my kids around. But at this moment in time, they've vanished off on an outing, and I have got a short window where I've got nobody in the house. And so I'm sneaking in a quick video. So what recently I have been watching quite a few different videos and really fancied doing a tag of some form, but I was finding quite a lot of them hard to do, and so I've gone for one which is easy. And the reason it's easy is because all I have to do is pick the last 10 decks. Yes, this is the tag that was started by Jonathan, who I wish well. I was thinking of him and his friends and family and people in Hawaii recently with the fires. But it was Jonathan Dailey who started this tag, and this is your last 10 decks tag. So this is easy for me. I look at a list and I find the last 10. Now, even though that's easy, there are a couple of sort of not provisos, well, a couple of little, as usual with me, not only is there a ramble, there's a couple of little what do you call them? No, provisos or things. Sorry. I will show you my last 10 decks. Technically, I'm actually going to show you 11, and the reason for that will become apparent. However, what I am not including this is the Total Tarot magazine subscription decks. So I subscribe to the Total Tarot magazine, and I'm still getting that magazine and the decks that come with it, but because that's part of that collection and that process, I've decided not to include them in this list. In this list, I've just included the 10 decks that I've purposely bought in or that have come in from either pre-order or Kickstarters. Now, so we're doing the hashtag 10 last decks. Things have been quiet around here. I am struggling with my spiritual tarot whatever practice in many ways. I've still stupidly bought a few decks this year, but really had hardly any time to work with them. I'm struggling a little bit with kind of focus. You can tell from me struggling to find right words a little bit. Things are a little bit awry as well in various ways. So one of the problems is that I've got a couple of decks in. A couple of them are ones that have come in off Kickstarters, and I've sort of thought they'd really spark me and get me going again, and they haven't. And I've had all these grand plans and I've not done them. But I'm also saying to myself that the time will come. I did declutter a few decks a couple of months ago, and I very nearly decided to just sell the lot and spend the money on something else, and then couldn't bring myself to do it, and instead bought another one. But I still know that there's something there for me. There's something for me to gain from them and to learn. I've just got to wait until the right time comes, and at the moment things have been really manic, and that's not always been possible. But I still have 10 decks to show you, and I wanted to share them. I wanted to come on while I had the chance. So thankfully, because I'm reasonably organised, I can kind of show them in order that they've come in from the oldest to the newest. Not only will there be one extra for a reason that will become apparent, there is also one which actually is brand new in, so new that I haven't unboxed it. So I will either show you the closed box and tell you to watch another video, or we'll do an unboxing. Let's see how long this video takes, because you know what I'm like. So let's think back. Basically, back in January, I topped up an Amazon deal and bought the Pocket Wild Unknown Pocket Animal Spirit Oracle. This, I didn't have the big original Wild Unknown. I actually got the pocket deck about the previous sort of January time, and really liked the size, the style. When this first came out, I think it was probably in the autumn, if I remember rightly, in the UK, I stopped myself from buying it because I felt like I was just going to buy it for the fact that it was there. But then I think it was literally was like a really bargain price. I paid the equivalent of just over £10 British money. And I think it was partly as well, it was on offer, or I think I had a thing where it was on Amazon UK recently. They've been doing this thing where it's like buy 4 items, save 5%. And I did that. I had 3 items. This was in that deal, and it meant that I could save a little bit of money. Totally could have saved even more by not buying it, but never mind. So this is the Pocket Wild Unknown Animal Spirit. Now, I hesitated from buying it at first as well, because I do have another animal oracle that I've used, and that is the Spirit Animal Wisdom. And so at first I was a bit like, well, I've got an animal oracle already, I don't need another one. But then I decided that this was slightly simpler, it had different animals, and I was going to use it with the Wild Unknown. So I quite like the simplicity, I quite liked the animals, and I also do like Kim Kranz's writing in her books. So she always has the way she writes things. So like Rabbit, when in balance, sensitive, problem solver, good listener. When out of balance, over explains, talks fast, to bring into balance a day of silence. I think that's really cool. So I think, to me, it was not only the fact that it not the deck, but also the way the book's written. And I really liked that. So and this kind of sense of it almost being a drawing. They're very simple. Oh, spider, get rid of the spider. But I really liked the look. Now, I did use it a little bit. I have to admit that I haven't used it loads. It sat unopened for ages, and then I did open it and work with it a little bit. But as I say, you've got to understand that at the moment things are a bit awry. I really ought to put, you see, I adore phoenixes. That was another thing that drew me to this, and perhaps other things. I absolutely love phoenixes, and it links into Harry Potter, and so that's really cool. So yeah, so I really, turtles are another favourite. So I really like the fact as well that it had a real mixture of all different, you know, animals and sea creatures. It's not just birds, it's not just animals of the earth, it's not just animals of the sea, it's not just animals from one particular country. You know, there's foxes and mice that I can associate with, there's crocodiles that I might not, and hummingbirds that I might not associate with. Sorry, I've just realised that I'm taking it out of line. So I just really liked the mix of animals. It's a really substantial deck as well in terms of the number of cards. It's a good number, and I do like these little pocket decks. So that's the first deck that I got early in the new year. As I say, I really committed myself to not getting that many because, you know, because. So the next deck is the one that is the 11th because it's going to be discounted. The next deck I got in technically was this. It's called the HP Tarot. It's based on Harry Potter. Unfortunately, I got stung, and this is actually a fake deck, and I was furious when I got it. Everything that was written about it, all the pictures implied it was right. What they didn't do, normally, if they've got a QR code, they're quite often on the back. Unfortunately, when it arrived, I found the QR code, the telltale sign, on the bottom. So unfortunately, this is actually a fake deck. Now, I should have known, but I was drawn in, and it wasn't even that cheap. It's not even, it's going to sound awful, the cards, they're quite flimsy and flippy, but you know, it's actually, for a fake deck, blooming well is not bad, and that really annoys me. So unfortunately, this was a fake deck, which I kind of want to bin, but I also am a bit loath to just throw it out. And also it kind of is one that I can keep as a, I've used another fake, this is my second fake deck. And what I've done with the other fake deck is written the meanings and used it that way. So I'm kind of hopeful I might be able to find a way to use it that trashes it in some way. But yeah, so discounting that one, let's have a look at the next one that came in. So the next one was me having a little bit of spending money after Christmas and thinking that I would have time in 2023 to commit to the Arthurian Tarot. So this was the new deck that came out, the version of the Arthurian Tarot that came out this year. Can't see it because it's too blooming big for the screen. This is the purple box set. I adore everything Celtic, British, Arthurian, Glastonbury. It's all very me, dragons, all that kind of stuff is very, very much my vibe. So I did really want this deck. I've wanted it for a long time, but I hadn't bought it. I wasn't prepared to pay hundreds of pounds for something online. And I also knew they were bringing this out and decided to hold off because I really liked this version. I have to say that I bought it with the intention of studying it. As you can see, I've opened the box, but I've studied it so much that the cards are still in their cellophane wrappers. That is how much I've studied it. Ultimately, I've decided I don't want to use it until I can commit the time to really look at the book and to really get into it. But I do love it still. And so it's one of those, it's there. It's ready for me to use. I had some money on Amazon. I got a voucher that I spent on it. It's there, it's ready. I have a collection of things that I want to study and it's in that collection. When the time comes, if the time doesn't come, I may declutter it, but for now it will come out when the time comes. So that was the third deck I bought in, but we'll say second now because we are discounting the darn fake deck. So Arthurian Tarot. The next is a bargain deck I got, which I really, really like. So I was really lucky because I found this on a second-hand site, not on eBay, but another site in the UK. And I spent ages, having been stung with the HP, making sure it was the genuine article, and it was, and that's the Reclaim Oracle. I'd been tempted by this for a long time. It's not really my art style, but I have so many problems with myself, with my self-esteem, with my body and stuff. I really wanted it for my own self. And I have used this a little bit. This is probably the one deck that I have used a couple of times. I adore this. Card stock is lovely. The colouring, I do like dark. I'm a big fan of sort of blackish colours. But if you've not seen the Reclaim Oracle, it's very much about kind of emotion, concepts, feelings, frustration, curiosity, courage, pride, defeat. And I have basically, what I've just done with this is a couple of times when I felt down, when I've felt like things aren't right, I've just pulled a card and I've just seen what it said, and then I've gone to the guidebook, because people write guidebooks for a reason, and it's so simple. Read the thing, and then I've just sat with the phrase and title for a minute. I did on one occasion, I then pulled a couple of tarot cards to look at how could I overcome that feeling. I can't remember which one it was, or you know, if you've got something like you know, forgiveness, what am I forgiving, who am I forgiving, is someone forgiving me? So this is a really beautiful deck. It's the second edition, so it has the, I think it's the second edition, oh, it's the third edition. So the third edition comes with 90 cards. Interestingly, I have looked more than once at the Lilith Tarot, which is by the same artist, which I'm sure most of you watching this know. But I've not been drawn to that. It hasn't appealed to me. Something just about this colour palette and the concept. So this was a bargain. This is quite hard. It's quite expensive to get in the UK, because it comes from America, and There weren't really, I don't think we had any shops that were stocking it, or if they were, now I managed to get it, I think it was for about second-hand £30 or thereabouts, all in. And it's the genuine article. It was well wrapped, well posted, so this was a bargain, because it would have cost at least twice that for me to get it, and I'm not prepared to pay that much money. There is one deck on Kickstarter that I've stupidly put my money down on that's very expensive, and I am one other deck that I'd put my money down on last year that came in, but otherwise I've really stuck to not being drawn into buying decks for 40, 50, 60 pounds. I just can't afford to do that when I'm not using them. It becomes a case of consumerism for me. It's a case of getting something new, very exciting, and I'm surrounded, literally I'm sat at my desk, which is where I work, and there's decks, there's books, there's notebooks. Anyway, that's just a little segue which I didn't need. So the Reclaim Oracle, that's been one of my favourite purchases so far this year, and also, you know, a second-hand deck. And I actually do like getting second-hand decks. I know some people don't like the kind of, because they might have energy or whatever from the previous person, but to me it's like I'm rehoming it. It's great. It feels like environmentally friendly a little bit as well. Although, having said that, I'm not putting the coffers directly into the purse of the person who created it, so I suppose, well, I don't know. Anyway, lots of swings and roundabouts, aren't there? But anyway, that's quite nice. I am tempted to get her journal, though. I wonder how much I'd use it. But that was the Reclaim Oracle, so that was a second-hand bargain. What came in next was one that I'd backed on Indiegogo. This was slightly more expensive, actually. I backed it just before Christmas on a whim. Another stupid whim. And that is the Winter Waite Redux by Tarot Collectibles, and this is the Stars edition. Excuse me. So I think I've done a video on this. I know this has a QR code on it, but please be assured that this is not a fake, because I got it directly from Tarot Collectibles with the bag and bookmark and stickers. So this was a direct Indiegogo campaign. So I know I've got this from the creators. They don't do it with a guidebook, but they have a QR code. So yeah, so I have done a video on this, I believe. May or may not. But yes, I have. I know I have. Sorry, I'm doing the car, but it has the most beautiful purple playbacks. Purple is always good. I have even actually done some readings with this deck in the winter. So it's a bit shuffled. It's upside down. It's left, right and centre. Look at the state of that. So basically, this is one of Tarot Collectibles. If you don't know, Tarot Collectibles have done a whole load of themed RWS clone decks, basically. They do some fantastic. This is the Stars edition. So in the right light, it shimmers, but it's not too much that it distracts. It's the usual Tarot Collectibles do a decent, it's a bit shiny, but yeah. So, and this is the Winter Waite, so this is this year's winter deck. They then did a spring deck, and I very nearly backed it and made the decision not to, because again I went, no, I don't need. So yeah, I've got the Lunar Soul, which is quite spring-like. I've got a couple of others. So yeah, so this is the Winter Waite. It does have Christmassy themes to it, so you've got this. And I wanted a Christmassy deck, but I also didn't want just a Christmassy deck. I wanted a deck that would straddle sort of Christmas and winter. I didn't just want a deck that was... I've looked at their previous editions of this with elves and candy canes, and I was very tempted to spend a lot of money on one of those when I saw it on a second-hand site. But I actually wanted one that had elements of winter as opposed to all about Christmas. Robins are really important to me, so that's really cool. So this is the Winter Waite Redux. This came in can't remember when I got it in now. It was quite early in the year anyway, sort of January, February time, and it was from an Indiegogo campaign. That deck, as you can see, I have used. I need to reorder it, actually. I kind of feel like I need to go through and reorder some of my decks. That was a nice one. I enjoyed using that earlier in the year, but again, that was when I was at the start of the year. I was doing quite well, and then things just got a bit insane. Another deck that came in that was a bargain. So again, going back to the whole Celtic theme, I am obsessed with Celtic stuff. I'd seen this on Candy's channel and somebody else's channel. I knew that this was fairly hard to come by. I was seeing it going on eBay for hundreds of pounds, literally £100. I thought it can't be that rare because I keep seeing it on eBay, but everyone was asking. Anyway, it came up one day and the person was doing it on a buy it now and it was £30. And I was like, gotta get it. So this is the Celtic Wisdom Tarot by Caitlin Matthews. It comes in a nasty unwieldy box, so I've taken it out and I've got it wrapped in a cloth from the Moon and Furrow. No, can't remember the name of the shop, I'll tell you in a minute. And in a wallet. Again, have I worked with it? No. Why have I not worked with it? Because it requires some study. So a bit like the Arthurian Tarot, I've also got the Fairy Oracle and the Celtic Oracle. There's some really interesting stuff in here. It's really interesting to look at. They've got the Candles of Life, the Tarot Triads. So it's got some real Celtic stuff behind it. I wanted to really look at it and really take time because the cards are named differently to understand. So I haven't actually worked with it because I was waiting for the time to do that. So as I say, at the moment it's quite a big deck, so it doesn't fit in a standard pouch. I saw these cloths, I'm going to say, on the Highly Sensitive Tarot's channel. They're little handkerchiefs by, is it the Moon in the Furrow? And this one is, as you can see, Glastonbury with a raven, which I thought went really well with this deck. And so yeah, but it is a huge deck as well. I hadn't realised just how big it was. So I haven't worked with it. It's such a beautiful, beautiful deck though. I love it. I really love it. But I need to, I love the earthiness of it. I love the simplicity, but yet the complex nature. The symbolism. I need to really get to grips with it and understand, for example, all these little kind of cave painting-y type things to understand what's going on in this deck, because I really don't know, but I love it. I really love the pictures in this deck. All of the minors are in different suits. So battle, skill, I think it's knowledge, and is it art? The other one, yeah. So that's something to come to grips. They're all illustrated. But yeah, I have to understand them because I haven't a clue. So yeah, so that's the Celtic Wisdom Tarot. I got it because I'd been eyeing it up and it was a bargain price on eBay. Waiting to study. Have I studied it yet? No, of course I haven't. But I do like getting it out and flicking it like that from time to time. I'm not necessarily a big fan of the whole wrapping something in a bit of cloth malarkey, but it then goes in a silly plastic pouch, so it's safe. Celtic Wisdom Tarot by Caitlin Matthews. Unfortunately, that one is hard to come by, so you're not going to be able to readily. I should have said actually that I'm not sure if there are copies of the Winter Waite. The Pocket Animal Spirit is readily available mass market. The Reclaim probably depends on the country you're in. I believe they're still for sale, but I could be wrong. And don't get the Harry Potter Tarot that I got because that's fake, in case I hadn't already told you. Haha. So then I was drawn into getting another deck. Again, this was cheap price, good value, something different. Well, I was just tempted again, wasn't I? Darn temptation. And that's the SquidCake Marseille Tarot. I have then followed that by getting Tarot on Earth by Tom Benjamin really, really cheaply to study the Marseille, and discovered that the book is huge, so I can't take it off with me on weekends away very easily. But this deck is so cute. So cute. I've seen it on quite a few channels. It's a lovely rock pool deck. I love rock pool decks. I love decks that are this size. This is just so well done. It's a really cute deck. It's a great hand deck. I took it away with me for a weekend away, and we were away with our orchestra in France, and I had it on the ferry and I could just look at it. Did I do much? No, but yeah, you've seen this on other channels. SquidCake Marseille, true Marseille style with the non-illustrated pips, but beautiful, and the guidebook's lovely. So this was me going, well, I quite like the look of that, and I could study Marseille, and yeah, there we go. So that came in. So that's, I've got a couple of other non-illustrated or pip style decks, but that's my first like actual, I think the one that says Marseille on it. So that came in just around about Easter time, to be honest. Then a Kickstarter came in. So this one I had backed last year. So this is basically a year down the line from when I backed it. So I bought this when I was still buying quite rapidly, and that's the Mini Mice Tarot. This is the mini version. I have done a full video of this. I haven't had a chance to play with it yet, but this is this gorgeous little mouse tarot. I still love the pictures. But there is a whole video of my opening, looking at the cards. I have looked at the book and have a better understanding now of how the different suits match to different towns in this world. But yeah. So that's the Mini Mice Tarot. So that was my 7th tarot to come in. So this is one that I didn't buy intentionally this year, that came in from a Kickstarter, but it's still one of my last 10 decks. Minnie Mouse Tarot, but the bag is beautiful. I like the bag. Magic Cottage Oracle, you know me, and Phil and Jackie Lovesy if you've seen any other of the videos. Again, I have done a video of this unboxing walkthrough type video, not a review. I haven't used it yet. As usual, this is one of their oracles set in the world of the Arboretum and Matlock the Hare. Another fantastic book and beautiful cards. I love the way Phil and Jackie do theirs. They do Kickstarters knowing that they've got them ready to go, so they do it on a Kickstarter in March, and by June this had come in. So I really like it. I'm not sure whether I should have waited until they did it in a small form. I have a couple of their decks in the smaller form, and they're great for taking out and about, but these are great with the artwork. So yeah, so I have, sorry, I do apologise if I'm going out of the camera angle. I'm not really looking, I'm looking at what I'm doing down here. So this is the Magic Cottage Oracle by Phil and Jackie Lovesy. Yeah, that's a lovely little deck, and it will be available. They always have more, so if you fancy it, do go and look that one up. Interestingly, it's one of those that actually I realised that I'd bought in a lot of new tarot in the last year, say. I've got far more tarot than oracle, and I was at a point where I needed some stuff to just help me. That's one of the reasons I got the reclaim and why I did go for the World Unknown, because I really feel at the moment like I need things where I can just take a card out and it will give me a message. It will say, you know, wake up woman or whatever. So the last two decks are a bit weird in the sense, not weird. One of the last two decks is one that was a bit of a whim and I haven't looked at, and the other one I haven't opened. So we were on holiday in France with my family, as I said before, and I was hoping that we'd get a chance to go to some bookshops or places where I could see the kind of things they had in France, because I've seen some beautiful decks online that are French. I do have some understanding of French, so I don't have a concern. I'd muddle through at least. But I wanted to see what they had, what the prices were. We went absolutely nowhere near anywhere that might have a deck at all, or a book like that. Not at all. We always ended up near shops when they were closed. So obviously on the continent, for me, in England, shops tend to be open during the day. In France, they always close in the middle of the day, which I always forget. And I love France. I absolutely love it dearly. We went to Saint-Jean-de-Mont, which is in the Vendée area, so on the North Atlantic coast, just down from Brittany. We were camping. It wasn't the nicest weather all the time. I would have liked it a bit hotter. But we did get on the beach, we did some stuff, but we didn't get much chance. And when I did go near shops, they were closed. Anyway, so I didn't get the chance to look at anything I really wanted to. I did get some lovely shells and hagstones, and I think I might do another video where I just show you those. Because I know a couple of other people show some hagstones. I've got loads, and I got some really lovely ones lately. And I tend to pick them up myself from the beach. So these are ones that I've actually got myself. But what was really funny was on the last day I was in the camp shop. So we're talking about the tiny little grocery store, and in their toy section, I have never seen this in the UK. This doesn't happen. But because on the continent, tarot and Lenormand style were a game, in their toy section, hanging on the rack, was this. And they had 3 different boxes. They had tarot, 78 cards. Then they had one that was 52. And then I realised afterwards I should have bought it, and I kicked myself. They had a 36. So they've obviously got a tarot, a playing card, and a Lenormand. And it's basically a game that you can buy in a shop to play, which, yeah, doesn't happen here. And it literally was a few euros. I'm not joking. It was about €6. It was the equivalent of about a fiver. So could I resist? No. So I picked this up literally the last evening we were there, when I dived into the shop for some emergency supplies. So it's really not fancy. It's nothing like, you know, my Magic Cottage or SquidCake. It's a card game, but I wanted to see what it was like. Now, again, not had much chance to have a look. It is a simple tuck box, but it's really shitty cardstock. But it is basically a tarocchi playing card deck. It is the minors, which are the diamonds, the clubs, the hearts, and the aces, each up to 10. And then it is your 21 tarocchi major cards. So your king, your queen, not whatever they are, page or whatever. So you've got those. And then these. Just the old style. I'm sure it's, isn't it, tarocchi style, but this is the traditional. So cool. I know nothing about how to read this, basically. I am assuming that each of these corresponds to something similar to the majors or to the Marseille meanings. It has rules for the game. Tableau de la valeur des cartes. And it has another leaflet here with how to play it, which I need to work out. But how cool is that? I'm sure a lot of you have got the tarocchi that are really expensive on superb cardstock, because this is absolute rubbish, of course. What do you expect for a fiver? But I just thought that was really cool that you could walk into a shop and buy ostensibly a tarot style deck for a fiver like this. I think they're even like plastic. In fact, they might be. I'm not sure. I know I saw some people playing with cards by the pool, so they might even be plastic. But isn't that cool? So I don't really know a lot about it. I probably need to do a little bit of research. But that came in, and for a fiver, who could resist? It's nothing like any of the beautiful ones I thought I'd get, but hey. And it's in a shitty tuck box. Sorry, just closing the tuck box. Okay, oh my goodness, 35 minutes for 10 decks. All I needed to show you was 10 simple decks. The last deck is still sealed in this box. This is a Simon made me do it. In here is the Unfolding Path Tarot. Having said that, I'm barely using tarot. I wasn't really going to buy any more tarot, yada yada yada. I saw the Kickstarter for this, for the indie version, and I didn't go for it. I even followed the creator and was put off by some of the cards and had no desire to get it. And then I saw Simon do the comparator, and something about the cards and the way he delivered it, I went and looked and found it on the shop that we've got in the UK that a few people have mentioned, the Oneness Emporium, for a really good price. So I bought it. I haven't opened it yet. Now, given that this video is already 35 minutes long, I am going to save this. I'm going to open it and record it as a separate video so you can watch it separately. But yeah, that is my last deck. So 10 decks that have come in. 2 were from Kickstarter. Well, actually, this was from Kickstarter last year. This was pre-ordered before Christmas. I've got at least 2 that were then second-hand. So, beautiful energy of people who've used them already. I've got bargains. I've got Marseille. I've got Oracle. And I've got a deck to open. A lovely tag. I've really enjoyed seeing what people have been bringing in this year. I hope you've enjoyed sharing with me. Apologies for the rubbish camera angle and for the presentation, but I do hope you've enjoyed it. I would do the last 10 books as well, but haven't got a clue which the last 10 were. So I hope that at least you've enjoyed this. And I am now going to film an unboxing of the Unfolding Path Tarot and possibly share with you in that video or in another video some of my recently acquired shells and hagstones. In the meantime, stay safe, everybody, especially those of you that are in areas suffering extreme heat or fires, unusual weather patterns, and look after yourselves, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.